God cannot alter the past, though historians can. Samuel Butler. Well, let's get into it on the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a freaking fantastic day. If you don't mind sharing this on every social media platform, it means so much to me. The only way I grow is through you. I know when I gain new subscribers or new listeners, it's because of people like you who aren't afraid to share this content. And it means a lot to me that you do, because I hope I provide something that's different than every freaking other podcast out there, especially political and all that stuff. I hope I provide not only some of the facts, some of the truth, something to learn, and also some way in which we can grow as human beings together, because there's always hope in the world. If you want to be a supporter of my show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. It would mean a lot to me. The best way to stick it to the man, stick it to corporate media, stick it to some of these just bad players in Twitter and stuff like that, some of these bigger podcasts and all that stuff, is to support your local, grass-fed, organic, cage-free, free mind. No one's telling me how to think or feel. Local podcaster or independent podcaster like myself, and I hope you guys consider it. It means a lot to me. Today, I almost didn't do a podcast because I was just like, I just can't do it. I can't do it with the January 6th stuff. It's just too much to me. It's all conflated. It's all egos and actors and hyper emotions and just politics at its finest. And to say otherwise is just, well, you're just playing politics. I am not being dramatic. This was a day to remember. Speaking of being over dramatic and over the top, Kamala Harris got in trouble for saying just this. Let's listen to her, because as always with my podcast, don't just take my word for it. I will provide the sources so you can hear it or read it through the horse's mouth or horse's eyeballs, if you will. But let's listen to Kamala Harris talk.
Throughout history, including dates that certain dates echo throughout history, including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault. Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021.
Now, zoom in on their face. Now, somebody younger than me, college age, middle school, high school, they might be okay with this statement. But for those of us that know history and know the impacts of those dates she suggested, like December 7th, the date of Pearl Harbor, 9/11, I remember 9/11. I was alive. I watched it happen. I watched it live on television. I was in school and I couldn't believe what I was watching through my eyes. I couldn't comprehend the death and destruction. But to equate these other two dates with January 6th is literally insane. But this is what we've witnessed for so long. See, we live in this postmodern world where we can just change history a little bit because of our lived experience. And there's nothing wrong with factoring in your lived experience. It's impossible not to. We always carry a bias. We carry our thoughts, and through our family and generations, intergenerational trauma, whatever you want to use, we carry this weight. And then we bring that to history. We bring that to our daily lives. But to just throw these dates around, bringing them together, saying they're equal. They hold equal weight. They're on the same parallel. They're on the same platform, they're on the same foundation as one another, is wrong. Because it takes away from the actual thing that happened. It takes away from their true trauma, the true death and destruction, the weight of those actual dates. But they don't care at this point. Because if it fits their narrative, it fits their direction and what they want to do. They want to make January 6th be the darkest day in history, as Jen Psaki called it today in the press conference. The darkest day. Or one of the darkest days. But I have a problem. You can call it the darkest day. You can call it these things. But when you start saying that it's the same weight of Pearl Harbor and 9/11, that's when I have an issue. Because let's just read some facts about Pearl Harbor. This is coming from history.com. And, you know, per usual, I'm just going to read the facts. I'm not going to imply or add my lived experience through my grandfather who was supposed to be there. That, like, I'm not going to just do that and say that, like, oh, I know how it feels. On December 7th, 1941, just before 8 a.m. on the Sunday morning, hundreds of Japanese fighter planes descended on the base. Hundreds. Where they managed to destroy and damage 20 naval vessels. Decommissioned, destroyed, obliterate, taken down 20 Navy vessels, including 8 battleships and over 300 airplanes taken down, decommissioned, destroyed, obliterated. Oh, and a little side note, more than 2,400 Americans died in the attack. 2,400. Including civilians. And around 1,000 people were wounded. 1,000 wounded. That's more than January 6th. Clearly more deaths than January 6th. One confirmed kill on January 6th. It was Ashley Babbitt. The others died later in hospital due to other complications. So to say it's on the same weight, the same ground as 2,400 people dying due to the Japanese attack. This was an attack. This was an assault. This was a declaration of war. To say that January 6th is that is just, it's just rewriting history at its finest because of our lived experience, because of the weight of the Capitol and what it holds on to these political class and the elites. But there was another date she added in. The other date, 9/11. During 9/11 attacks, 2,977 people were killed. 19 hijackers committed a murder-suicide, and more than 6,000 people were injured. Of the 2,996 total deaths, including the terrorists, 2,763 were in the World Trade Center and surrounding other areas. 189 were at the Pentagon, and 44 were in Pennsylvania. These deaths included 265 on the 4 planes. The attacks remain the deadliest terrorist attack in world history. This is the deadliest terror attack in world history. 2,977 people were killed. December 7th, more than 2,400 Americans died in Pearl Harbor. To just throw those dates in with January 6th is sinful, is wrong. is careless. But it's politics at its best, isn't it? Because their job isn't to tell you the truth. It's just to add emotion, to make you have higher anxiety, to make you feel anger when you go sorry, to the ballot box. These aren't historians. These aren't philosophers. These aren't great minds of our time. These are people that are playing the game of staying in power and saying whatever means necessary in order for you to remember the day of infamy known as January 6th. To add those two dates in with January 6th is careless. And for people to go along with this thought process is sinful, is wrong. It's wrong to the Americans that were killed during those two attacks. It's wrong to the people that are still suffering from cancer from the World Trade Center, the dust that came down. It's wrong to the World War II vets that sacrificed their lives because of the attack. It's wrong. You can call January 6th whatever you means necessary. You can call it that, but to add those dates in with January 6th is a stretch that I cannot stand for. I cannot encourage. I can't, and I don't want to write off. See, a lot of Republican conservatives are talking about they're just focusing on January 6th and they're saying that this is just such a stretch and they're trying to make January 6th. I think instead of it saying that it's making January 6th into a bigger deal, it's actually dumbing down some of the real darkest days in American history. I think it dilutes stuff from World War II, 9/11. It takes down the blow, the seriousness of these two heinous acts, these two horrible days in our history. But I don't think they care, because when you live in a postmodern world, you have a leftist mindset, you can rewrite history to make it to be whatever you want it to be. They're all white supremacists. They're all this. They're all that. Let's take down our history. Let's get rid of this. Let's do this because this is not our narrative anymore. This is who we are. As Kamala Harris put on her best emotional mask to repeat the words of her written speech today. See, I have a problem because I love history. I love history. I love quotes. I love stories that come from this because of the triumph in the face of true trauma and adversity and heroism. So when it's just thrown out, dumbed down, and equated to the same, is insane. So my encouragement to you is to not be like politicians, whatever side you're on. To not be like some of these corporate news agencies who are okay with this. But to teach your kids, teach yourself the history of the world. Because our past, the world's past, is marked by so much suffering and so much pain. And to dumb it down, to be used as a talking point, takes away the pain and suffering that truly happened. See, I know people are trying to say that it's January 6th, that they're rising it to that level. I think they're lowering these two dates to the January 6th level, because no person with a logical conscience can look at January 6th and say, yeah, just like Pearl Harbor. Yeah, just like 9/11. Don't be like these people. Read up on history. Know your history. But also, when you remember history, get your facts right. know the pain that went through, so that you can be thankful for the life you have now as we flip through our phones and we like our Instagrams, and we like our stories, we scroll our TikToks, we write our tweets, we have jobs. People have jobs where they just podcast all day. There are real horrors and pains that our history, men and women that went before us went through, that we don't have to. Thank God. Hopefully never. But you don't know. Because this is what happens also again, is when you don't know history will repeat itself because you just don't remember. Because when you conflate and you equate silly, yes, terrible things, but also not nearly as terrible of a thing with a really terrible thing, it takes away the weight of the actual date and what actually happened. And therefore it is deemed and prepared to repeat again. That's why when I see these stories also of like segregation being okay, where, you know, we need to have our safe space for the POs, we need to have this and this, you need to know where history leads us. If you can continue to consider and encourage separation from each other. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. I do. I'm thankful for you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Know your history. Know what went on in the world. So when politicians just say these insane things, you can call them out. Because if you don't know your history, not only are we liable to repeat it, but you yourself are liable to agree to something that you might not know what you're even agreeing to. And this can happen on both sides. Republicans, Democrats, they could all make history to make it fit their narrative of their life so that they get you to vote for them at the voting booth so they remain in power. As always, the American people lose out in the end. Know your history. Know what's happening. And call these politicians out for this kind of bull crap. Because it is. But I appreciate you guys. Know your history because, God, when you know your history, you can have hope for the future because there are true horrors that happened in the past. And when you know your history and you know it well, when you see things that remind you of those things, you can call it out and you can make a change and be a change in the world, a change that you want to see, and a change that makes our kids' future, kids of our kids of our kids of our kids' future better. I hope you guys have a great day. If you're watching this live, I'll be right back. But if not, love you. Bye-bye.
Come on,
All
man.
right. What's up? We're back. I hope you guys enjoyed that little podcast. I just saw this before I started that recent thing. I want to hear what this is all about.
You know, when I was there, we came up with it, and everybody wanted it. When I left, people really didn't want it. And then they do the mandates, which is terrible. Shouldn't do it.
Would you ever do anything like that?
No, and they shouldn't have done it either. They scared everybody, and they hurt the economy very badly. You know, the mandates are one of the reasons you can't get anybody to work for you. The mandates have been a disaster.
Interesting. A Glenn Beck interview with Donald Trump. That should be interesting to listen to. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I appreciate every single one of you that joined me on this journey. Feel free to subscribe. Tell your friends and family about the Derek O'Shea Show. It means a lot to me. I also do a lot of live streams earlier on the day where I do press conferences and Joe Biden's speech and stuff like that. Check that out. Let your friends and family know about this channel that isn't just all doom and gloom. And I'm anti-fringe. I try to not be hysterical and insane. And use your emotions as a tool to keep your attention and create chaos and anxiety in your life. So I hope my channel is different for you. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I appreciate you for joining me on the stream. Goodbye.